Let me be clear. We do not want to ban TikTok, and that is not our intention at all. We're not trying to ban TikTok. We're basically saying we got to pay attention to who the owner of TikTok is and pay attention to what that presents in terms of national security issues.
That's Kamala Harris from Westmount High School and also Vice President of the United States of America, and her comments on TikTok. Now, she said, listen, we're not trying to ban TikTok, but let me tell you something. What legislators in the U.S. have done in the House, the Senate, and now Joe Biden signing the bill into law, a lot of people say it acts as a de facto ban. TikTok's owner, ByteDance, is now going to be forced to sell. And the timeline is so quick. Like the sale has to start within 9 months and then has to be completed within a year. And the amount of dollars we're talking about, a lot of people saying no one's ever going to pony up that cash. It's a de facto ban. So why is this happening? And is it the right decision to ban the Chinese ownership of TikTok? Mitch Joel is with us, tech advisor, investor, author of Control Alt Delete, and he's got his take. Hi, Mitch. How you doing?
Hey, Elias. How are you?
I'm good. Your reaction here? They did it. I mean, and Republican, Democrat, kumbaya, all together on this one. What say you?
It's a very strange turn of events to see how quickly this has passed both House and Senate, has landed on President Biden's desk, signing of it. The votes, if you look at what happened here, it was quite staggering to see. There was 79 votes to 18. When have we ever had that type of agreement on anything? And I think even strangely enough is how it was packaged. I mean, it's packaged into a bill that is essentially there for defense in terms of giving money to Taiwan, to Israel, to, I'm forgetting another big one. What's Ukraine? Of course, there's so many wars going on. It's hard to remember all the ones that are happening. And I find it very curious that it was lumped into this one. It seemed like it was standing on its own. So a lot of people are saying it was rushed through. It does feel very rushed through. And I'm even more concerned about a lot of the discourse I'm reading, which is that this company at this size should be owned by a US organization, which made me think, well, why couldn't it be owned by a Canadian organization or an Australian one or a UK one? Why is this specific to the US? And I think we have people like Mark Zuckerberg, who is popping corks right now. There's no doubt between what Instagram is doing with their Reels and YouTube and Google with their Shorts that in a world where I thought government was trying to fight big tech and turn against big tech, they're basically handing them billions, if not more, power and control of the media if this happens. Very, very concerning turn of events here.
Okay, so Mitch, I want to approach this from another angle here, because this week we saw damning reporting and I mentioned Republicans, Democrats. Now, media-wise, I saw damning reporting from both sides of the political spectrum media-wise. New York Times, people would probably say that leans center-left. Wall Street Journal, people would say that's a center-right publication. They both published pieces that outline how TikTok is trying to influence U.S. public opinion. And the headline in the New York Times in their email they sent out this week, TikTok is propaganda, and they have the receipts. They compare how hashtags perform on TikTok versus Instagram, and what it shows is for some reason, things like Tiananmen Square, Tibet, Taiwan, Uyghurs, pro-Ukraine, pro-Israel, they don't show up on TikTok in the same ratio. Sometimes it's like only a quarter of the times that they show up on Instagram. So I look at that and I say, there's some proof that China is manipulating U.S. public opinion. I'd say there you go. There are your receipts. Ban the sucker. Mitch, what say you?
I think that depends if China actually has input into this. And I'm not trying to sound like a TikTok apologist. All I'm saying is that TikTok's moderation failures and data privacy concerns are hardly unique. Even as some lawmakers are trying to make it seem to persist, they're holding TikTok basically uniquely responsible for this. I'd love to see that in comparison to the other platforms. I'm just saying as a general thing. And look, TikTok is really good at recommending videos by accounts with small followings, right? That's the other part of it too. So we're seeing a bit of a problem with the other makers or creators who are getting more of a voice. So again, I'm not going to be somebody being an apologist for this platform. I want to actually understand where this technology is. TikTok, in terms of the US operations, is saying that there is a clear definition. There is no information going back and forth. The government has really not supplied full on, this is the proof. They're going to have to provide that. TikTok is coming back and saying this could be a First Amendment issue. So I definitely am not choosing a side of ban it, don't ban it. I would like to understand at a full scale, what are we seeing also on the other platforms? And I want there to be some type of unity and clarity about where is this data? What is this data? Where is it going?
So
I'm also concerned about the fact that here we sit in Canada, and the conversation for our prime minister seems to be, I am monitoring this and I am putting the best interests of Canadians at heart. But if this is so dramatic, it has to be happening here as well.
So I look at traditional media, okay? In the United States, China cannot buy CBS or ABC. It's never been allowed. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or today. You want to own radio or TV in the United States, it has to be, by law, American companies. I'm wondering why social media should be any different, especially in light of all of the things that are at play in the world where other companies are trying to influence our affairs. Why should TikTok be different from ownership of a radio station or a TV station?
I think that depends on how the business unfolds. So what we're talking about with media is usually some type of licensing in Canada in regards to the CRTC. Should digital technologies and media be beholden to acquiring licenses to go across the internet? The answer could be maybe, to make it fair to traditional media. The answer might also be maybe we need to break down what we had traditionally, because now we live in this hyper-connected internet global marketplace. So the challenge I always have with technology, and that's just not TikTok in this current situation, is we keep trying to take the new things and lump them into the traditional laws, and instead of trying to move the laws into a more feasible and reasonable practice for these businesses and these voices and these creators to survive. I don't know about you, Elias, but the way that the current media landscape is, my greatest fear would be that all of these individual voices and platforms would suddenly have to succumb to government, which seems to be trying to sustain traditional media channels, which seems to be problematic for a lot of local and small creators. This makes me very nervous. I agree that we have many issues here, massive amount of issues. And I don't think TikTok is innocent. I don't think any of them are innocent. What I'd like to understand is, why does this have to be owned nationally and not by some other consortium? What I'd like to understand is, please bring forward the evidence, because right now the evidence is what we're seeing in terms of these informations of people doing some types of reviews, but it's not necessarily the government's case. And it has to demonstrate that a forced divestiture or outright ban is necessary. I mean, we can't forget the legal system here. We can't just go, well, we don't like it, so let's sell it to an American company. I don't think that sets the best precedence unless we have that. And again, if you really look at what's going on, it looks like a coin toss. You know, when national security interests come up against speech protections, especially in the US, this could be a real coin toss if it goes towards any form of court, and it will have to.
Well, it comes down to, is it really a ban? Because they're not saying TikTok is banned. What they're saying is it can't be owned by this Chinese company, ByteDance, right? Anyway, if an American can own it, it's fine. And then I look at the fact that, well, there's Instagram. There's still Instagram. There's still X. There's still YouTube. It's not like the outlets for the creators will go away. It'll just be a different outlet.
It's not a question of it going away. There's another outlet for creators. There's not an outlet for people who built 2 to 5 to 10 million followers and an audience in the platform. And let's not forget True Social. Are we okay with True Social buying TikTok? Are we okay with the Free Press buying TikTok?
Yeah.
Are we okay with Alex Jones creating a consortium and buying TikTok? Like, there are greater questions when we say this. And I'm just trying to provoke the idea that, not that free speech is under fire. Some might argue it is, but it seems that we keep going towards these massive conglomerates that aren't doing this in the best interest of both the creator and the audience. And I think we need to have some type of variety here before we do things like build it into a next great American organ. And by the way, we haven't talked about the most important part here, Elias, which is, what are they buying? Because if they don't get the algorithm, and I would present to you the idea that they will sell TikTok, they will never sell the algorithm. And at that point, you're talking about, you're essentially buying users and content, and you better pray it works out.
Well,
for you.
I
The algorithm
say
is the
fine.
secret sauce here.
I say fine, because take that
Yeah, I agree.
algorithm and burn it, because it is not contributing to a healthy society. My opinion. I don't think it's contributing. I think what it does, and what China is doing, it is trying to make sure everyone turns into an extremist. Certainly seems like that way when you look at the data. They want everyone to hate each other. And if I was China, that's what I'd want to do to Western democracies. How can we make everyone hate each other? Oh, let's tweak this algorithm. Take the algorithm and burn it, I say, Mitch.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing you say is more related to social media than just TikTok, though, because that extremism is everywhere. You have those same feelings towards X, those same feelings towards Instagram and YouTube. It's all, I agree with you, but that's a greater social media story.
Mitch, got to leave it there. Overtime with you, but I always take it. That's Mitch Joel, tech advisor, investor, and author of Control Alt Delete.